Hello, I'm Vörös and welcome to the Market Measure. Many S&P 500 firms have a long history of initiating or increasing dividends. Last year, 342 firms increased dividends, while 8 companies initiated one, including Alphabet, Meta and Salesforce. As a result, the absolute dollar amount of dividends by S&P 500 constituents hit its 13th consecutive annual record in 2024, with over $600 billion paid out, up 6.4% on 2023. If firms keep raising their dividends year after year, even an expensive-looking price may turn out to be justified. Many S&P 500 constituents have a long record of increasing dividends, with an average 323 companies increasing annual dividends over the past 20 years. Even during COVID in 2020 and the Great Financial Crisis in 2009, 287 and 151 S&P 500 members increased payouts. Market participants with a preference for higher yield than that of the S&P 500 may adopt strategies focused on dividend-paying stocks. This chart shows the current yield of selected S&P dividend-oriented benchmarks, all of which have a much higher yield than the S&P 500, with low volatility high dividend and high dividend even matching the yield on 10-year US Treasury bonds. Let's zoom in on two members of the index family, the S&P 500 Dividend Aristocrats and the S&P High Yield Dividend Aristocrats. Members of the former must be constituents of the S&P 500 and must have increased their dividends for a minimum of 25 consecutive years. The S&P High Yield Dividend Aristocrats consists of S&P Composite 1500 constituents that have increased dividends for at least 20 years. While these are the minimum requirements, some index members have a much longer record of dividend increases. As this chart shows, 28 S&P 500 Dividend Aristocrats constituents and 38 High Yield Dividend Aristocrats constituents have increased their dividends for half a century or more. At S&P Dow Jones Indices, we measure the markets. I'm Vörös, and this was the Market Measure.